I find myself in the company of Mr. James Dean Bradfield and Nicky of the Manic Street Preachers, because a week today they will be releasing a 10th anniversary deluxe edition of it's an astonishing album for any band. I mean, Everything Must Go. Can you believe it's 10 years already since you made the bugger?
No, it's amazing. I've been trawled through all demos and cassettes and videos for the last 6 months. It's pretty staggering that it's 10 years ago, really.
Because it was, I mean, it was such a, you know, I've watched the DVD that came with it, and it's not just an album. Oh no, oh no, the Manic's all about value for money, and it's 2 discs. It's the regular album plus some live stuff at the end of that, and then a whole disc of demos and things.
Yeah.
How from the process of making Everything Must Go, from that first rehearsal after Richey gone, when you all went in a room, how long was it until you actually birthed the thing? How long did it take? I've wondered.
It's probably about 4 or 5 months after Richey disappeared that we were in a little rehearsal studio in Cardiff, and we played Design for Life, which is on the CD. It actually sounds pretty fully formed.
Well, there's
it's a bit tad harsh.
Four versions of it on the whole. If you get it,
yeah.
There's the real one. There's a remix, a live one with a threat at the end, which is my favourite, but on the whole album, I do have to say, only more bands put threatening live material on there. How bad was this fella, James?
I can't even remember what the threat is.
That tosser at the back, I'll see you after the show. If I may quote.
I think, is that from Belgium, is it?
It is from Belgium.
Yeah. It's a chain reaction. Whenever we're in Belgium, God love the place, you know, because Mr. Wire always seems to be in a terrible mood when we're there. So it's kind of like, it's like a chain reaction. It's just kind of like he gets in a bad mood and I start getting in a bad mood, and then I start threatening the crowd.
Oh,
domino effect.
Oh, what happened to show business?
It's actually, we nearly split up in Belgium once, just when the few times we had a proper row. Jim stormed out of the dressing room.
Wow.
Into the darkness of the Brussels night.
That's right. As I remember, after I came back through the door of the dressing room, got my cagoule, and stormed back up the road.
As you stood in the shadow of the atomium thinking your future. It's what's lovely about this is many people that love any kind of band will get very little insight into the process that went behind the creation of it, but this, you do kind of sort of lay everything bare. It's the interview that you did with John that's on it. I mean, it's like an hour of you sort of chatting about the process and everything behind it. The actual, obviously, you know, the 10th anniversary edition aside, was it strikes me that Everything Must Go was a quite cathartic album to make for all of you, for one reason or another.
It was a release, you know. It'd been 2 years of pretty heavy, bad atmosphere all around. Philip had passed away, our first manager. Richey was in a pretty bad way. And, you know, although the Holy Bible was an amazing record, it was pretty hard playing those songs every night. You know, the intense humming of evil over and over.
Yeah.
Horses and chains.
And, you know, just getting into the studio with Mike Hedges and the three of us, I don't know, just feeling really happy to be making music, just to be still in a band.
I suppose it was the first time in a while when we made Everything Must Go that we just forgot everything. You know, whilst we were actually making it, you know, things would come back into our minds, but for that while, kind of like we managed to forget the past a tiny bit.
Yeah.
You know.
How important was Hedges in the whole process? Because it strikes me that he did capture something that was obviously there, but hitherto not really been brought to the fore, which is the dynamic, which is the space. It's being given rather than
millions of words.
Yeah. But it was odd. I mean, to be used to that kind of that verbal assault was the trademark of the Manics, really. And then suddenly, there's all this space, there's all this air, there's all this room, and there's all this, you know, the melody around it, and
it was a conscious decision to write less words anyway, because I couldn't be what Richey had been, you know, the kind of intellectual, internalised, unfathomable brilliance of his words. I was never going to try and compete with that anyway, and that was a relief to James as well, I think, because him and Hedges were, you know, became very close, shall we say. Almost too close.
He's talking about alcohol, by the way. It's like,
well, it's a...
He is 6'6" of ginger behemoth, so like...
And then you filled it with SA. Was that a wise thing to do?
Skull attack. No, it's kind of what did Sean called him the indie George Martin kind of thing.
Yeah.
And kind of that's what was cool about him. He was the first producer we came across that just like actually would do everything we expected a producer to do. You know, he would entertain all our ideas. He took the mick out of us. You know, I'd sing a performance. I'd sing a song like Small Black Flowers, and then all I'd hear over the kind of intercom was, that was very sensitive. And then he would get, and then he would get panelled with myself and the Energeer up in a pub in Domfront called Lettree every night. Or there was a pub called The Happy Hour there as well, which we used to go and get drunk in. So he did everything we expected a producer to do for us.
From the Everything Must Go 10th Anniversary Edition, Deluxe it says here. Although I'm not wearing my glasses. It might say something else. No, it is a deluxe edition. That was Horses Under Starlight, which Wilding has just reminded us was your play-out music. Nice.
Yes, it was nice.
It used to baffle people at the time, actually.
I can imagine it did.
Usually coming up, after a bit of poetry or something really deep and political, and there'd be this bit Baccarat kind of swan song. But it's a beautiful piece of music.
Hey, so you brought some music in for us to play as well. James, you've brought in some Mott the Hoople, which I'm delighted about. Tell us a little bit about yourself and them, where you came across them.
Just when you're around about 14, 15, you always kind of start trying to buy old albums on vinyl, and kind of, I remember I had Foxtrot by Genesis.
It's going to take that turn,
I had Led Zeppelin 2 on vinyl, and I had this on vinyl, and of course you used to play it and pick a couple of tracks off it, but they've just reissued the CD, and I just kind of remembered how good it was.
There we are. Hey, and picked a belt from it. This is Mott the Hoople with the quite spectacular Honolulu Boogie. Choice of Nicky Wire, the ever sloppy, ever delightful CSS with current single Ah La La here on BBC Six Music, 21 minutes before 10 in the morning. We are indeed in the company of James Dean Bradfield and Nicky Wire of the Manic Street Preachers. Next Monday sees the release of the 10th Anniversary Deluxe Edition of Everything Must Go, 2 discs and a DVD. A wealth of stuff, all from one album.
40 tracks, I think, altogether.
You sound like the TV advert. 40 blistering tracks. Let me have a look here. I think you'll find it's hold on, 19.
Oh, it's a 38.
42.
42.
It fits the definition of deluxe, doesn't it?
It does, though, absolutely. And the DVD, which is it's nice because you all your TV appearances at the time, and the triumphant appearance at the Brits where you won Best Band. And one of my favourite acceptance speech moments ever, where you dedicate your award to comprehensive schools.
It's just an uncontrollable. It's really odd. You look at it. This one's for all the comprehensive schools, and they produce the best boxers. best bands, the best art, and the best boxers. That's ain't wrong there. No, it's quite a different acceptance speech to most, I think. Yeah.
That is, were you expecting to win? I can't even remember who you're up against. It's weird that only 10 years ago.
Seems a lot. I mean, it was Blue were about, obviously Oasis were about, Radiohead were about, so yeah.
It was good times back then. But it's interesting. It's interesting that you draw, you raise a very interesting point on the DVD in the interview, which is Britpop was in full flight at the time. This album, I suppose it could have been in its death throes by now. But when Everything Must Go came out, Britpop was in sort of full flight, and yet you were distant from it. You were already sort of elder statesman. It's almost.
Well, it was our 4th album.
Yeah.
And we definitely mocked up a lot of those young kids who were getting into guitar music.
Yeah.
A good bit of moppage.
Yeah.
Which helped. But it did. We supported Oasis for the first time at Main Road, and literally no one knew any of the songs. We thought, Motorcycle Emptiness, Faster, we're going to, blow everyone away today. Yeah. Apart from Design for Life, it was like we were a completely new band. That all those Oasis fans knew, really, was Everything Must Go.
But it's weird. Are there those sort of moments where you realise where you get to see how you're perceived by the wider world? Because it's odd. I remember one year campaigning for the Labour Party and being so certain they were going to win because I'd spent 3 weeks with nothing but Labour supporters, and I thought the country was full of them. But I just went from gig to gig, from Labour Party office to Labour Party office, thinking, there's just thousands of these people, this is going to be great. And it was 87 when I remember bursting into tears when the Basildon result came through. But you spend that time in a in a partisan crowd, as it were. All you see is Manics fans, and then when you go out, was that actually a good experience to do the Oasis thing and actually think, hang on, this is...
It was, yeah, I mean,
in a new way.
Yeah, it was a certain reality check, like, when Nick said, you know, when we spotted Oasis at Main Road, it was just like, you know, like I said, we thought we were going to slay him on a motorcycle, no reaction. From the Spade Away, no reaction. Faster, absolute people walk in to go and get a burger. And then kind of like Design for Life is just suddenly there were pockets of the crowd where people just start actually doing a bit of a sway and they're going, oh, I like this one, yeah. This is their first single, a good new band kind of thing.
I wish that bass player wouldn't have eyeliner on.
Yeah, what's he wearing a skirt for? But like, you know, we realised that we were kind of starting again, but also we realised that bands played to crowds more than 3,000 people kind of thing.
Yeah.
So it was a shock on lots of different levels for us.
But it's a beautiful moment when you're underground. It only happens once in a band's career when you're an underground band, you know, respected cult band, and all of a sudden you go overground, and it's the most blissful moment that a band can ever have. When you've built it all up, and you know you're on your 4th or 5th album, all of a sudden you feel you've got the power to almost influence a whole new fan base. You know, it's an amazing feeling. You only get it for 2 or 3 months, you know, and you win the Brits or whatever, and you just after that, then you're part of the establishment. Whereas, you know, when you have that little bit of moment, it's just glorious.
Do you think Richey would have liked it?
He would have loved the fame. He would have loved the scale of it, you know, to play those huge gigs, yeah. Because for all his kind of anti-hero status, he didn't mind just kind of luxuries in life, which we never had while he was around. So yeah, no, I think he would have enjoyed it.
It would have been entertaining as well.
Oh, yes.
As kind of like Bill O'Reilly says on Fox News, you know, he would have been a bomb chucker. he would have been saying contentious things like, you know, twice every week and inviting death threats upon us at every turn.
Because the audience was growing so much, it would have been hilarious. Actually, we need him round today. He would, you know, his fierce intelligence and controversial nature would be perfect.
Hey, taken from this is the bonuses. This is the demo version of Further Away, and and Phil just observed there. They said they're very good. They're very good demos, aren't they? Wire just points at James and rolls his eyes in the most kind of. Is it the demo process for you, James? Is it quite a?
It's kind of like, I suppose since Everything Must Go, that's when we started doing good demos. Before that, they were pretty awful, weren't they?
But really? Just everyone get in a room and press play and record and see what happens.
I mean, kind of like, perhaps, we've kind of constantly not given ourselves room to kind of take the record somewhere else because the demos have been so good, so we've tried to deliberately hamstring ourselves.
There's one demo on you, there's no service or feeling demo. We're so good that James actually remixed the demo for the deluxe edition and made it sound shit.
Oh my lord, this is Further Away. There we go. We're actually trying to pick the next record to play because there's been one of those communication breakdowns here. From the bonus disc with Everything Must Go, that was the demo version of Further Away. They are extraordinarily well-formed demos. But what I quite liked was that you went off to France to record the album, which was how was that? Was that the first time you'd gone abroad to record?
Yeah, it was the first time. Yeah, it was just like a blessed release for us, wasn't it? Just to get away from, just like record company and just like the enemy, and because of the Richey thing that had gone on and stuff, and and obviously no one knows who we are in France whatsoever. It's just like, and that was beautiful, and it was just good to eat and play. It's fun stuff.
It sounds like a kind of idyllic. It's almost like you could knock these out as really good holidays. Record an album in the Dordogne.
It was. It was beautiful. I mean, it was the old Abbey Road desk, which Dark Side of the Moon was recorded on.
Yeah,
big wood with flying faders. It felt really authentic. And Mike Hedges lived there as well, so it was a house and a studio.
Yeah,
and it felt like that. It felt just like, dare I say it, a bit of a family.
You walk into the kitchen, it'd just be hams, cheeses, breads, wine. That's when you became converted to being a bit of a wine drinker, wasn't it?
It was. I never drank before then, and by the time we finished our album, I had a massive wine get. Cheap Beaujolais.
It's a tortuous process.
He did. When you're with a producer, I mean that relationship. How soon do you know whether it's going to work or not?
I think you know pretty quick.
Yeah, I mean, we knew from the first day we got there, we had to record Raindrops Keep Falling on My Head for the War Child album.
Yeah.
And like, and kind of, we did, we recorded, we'd never played it before, and we recorded it and mixed it in like, for something like 5 or 6 hours. And it was just obvious it was going to work because the engineer, Ian Grimble, and Mike Edges had worked with each other so much. They'd worked on Beautiful South Records and Susie and the Banshees and the Cure, and like they just, you know, they just had the faith in our songs, you know. And you know, we were used to producers just going to us, oh no, you got to play it again, you got to play it again, you got to play it again, and they were just going, oh, that's cool, that's fine, kind of thing. So the very first day we got there, we knew it was going to work.
Is it true that Grimble got like phone calls from engineers saying, "What the hell are you doing on this Manics record?"
Oh, that was for Everything Must Go.
Yeah?
Because we tried to mix it, the actual song Everything Must Go, we tried to mix it and it sounded awful. And we convinced him just to put like 10 echo chambers on the entire track. And he was just like, I remember his right eyebrow just going up and just going, this is wrong. They didn't see, this is not what they taught me at Abbey Road. And then the day after it was released, it was being played on the radio before it was released, and he started getting calls from all his engineer friends saying, what the hell are you doing? That sounds awful. So, kind of.
Everything but a touch of cowbell. That's all it needed. When you sort of had to, you know, the processing of them, who mooted sort of, you know, it's actually going to be worth doing the 10th anniversary edition? Whose idea was it?
It's always me.
Come on.
Oh, wire. Oh, wire.
The great archiver.
But yeah, why not share it? You know, it's weird. I've been sort of speaking to Billy a lot. He's been doing the box sets.
Yeah,
and Wiggy's been... the stuff that you hear, I remember when, you know, early on when I knew him giving me a cassette, and I used to have a version of Little Time Bomb, used to be called A Nurse's Life is Full of Woe, and I remember sort of that I had a song, a working song, a song in progress that was unfinished. It was one of the most exciting things I had sort of in my life. You must be, this isn't all of it, I bet there's tons.
It's a lot of it though, because James used to come down to my terraced house in Wattsville, which I just bought, my first house, which is beautiful up in the mountains there. And there's quite a few of the demos on there, literally onto an old-fashioned cassette recorder. You know, just James and an acoustic guitar, which are, you know, pretty as intimate as it gets, really.
Yeah.
I think there's 4 or 5 of those on there, which are really, I guess, before that, only me, James, and Sean have heard those demos.
Yeah.
You know, they're not even demos; they're just little scraps, and so. And there's. I don't want to plug it, but there's photos as well in the booklet, which I've never seen, because Mitch Akita, our photographer, I mean, I've got about 6,000 of his photographs. So I trawled through all them, and they've never ever been used either. So.
You're always getting calls off him in the middle of the night, like, was it Portsmouth 1991 September that we put California Ubrales in the middle of repeat?
So you don't... is one of you a wireman? Does someone keep a diary?
Yes, I'm... in most respects, I'm not Bill Wyman.
It's because I'm calling him a Wyman. Sir, I think you know what I mean.
I guess I got the biggest kind of archive, yes. Sean is pretty completely uninterested in the whole process, but then he's a drummer, so... There you go.
What are you saying, Nicky?
No, I mean that in the nicest possible sense. He can detach himself, but I'm probably...
Sir, he's a drummer and a trumpet player.
Yes, he is. I'm too precious about things, is what I'm saying. But for stuff like this, it's come in handy, haven't it?
All that crap lying around the house, oh my God, we could release this.
Crap lying around the house? It's in shoeboxes in his room.
Is it really?
All marked very well.
Oh, the idea that you've got a room, it fills me with horror. Hey, it's Everything Must Go. It's a 3-disc set, including a DVD, and the DVD is great because there's gig stuff on it. There's the Brit's performance and that acceptance speech. Performances on Later with Jules Holland. To sum up, is this your favourite album that you've made? It's difficult because you're making a new one now. I know you're off to...
I think it's our most consistent record, yeah. I think Holy Bible's got a special place in a different kind of way, but I think it's our...
How are the fans split on it? You know, do you...
I think you've got your old school Labourites who's first for the Holy Bible. And you've got your new Labourites, it's probably Everything Must Go. Different wings of the party.
And I mean, James, when you look back, when you got all this stuff from his house and it arrived, and you kind of, you know, when you listened to it, how did it sort of make you feel to sort of listen back?
I think it's more of a shock for me because I think I think, you know, kind of Wire is always consistently raking over the coals of the past. But kind of like when I kind of get to listen to the stuff, and it's usually for the first time in a long while. And yeah, no, I kind of the shocking thing I suppose I find about Everything Must Go is that, in a strange way, it's still an album made by 4 people rather than 3. Of course, it is made by a 3-piece musically. But, you know, there are still quintessential things on there which kind of Richey contributed to as well, you know, I know is in his absence, but, so that kind of shocks me. It still feels like, I thought it was a new version of the Manics, but there's still vestiges of what the Manics were before, you know.
It's a transition album is what it is.
Yes.
Hey, Everything Must Go, the 3-disc set is out next Monday. Gentlemen, thank you so much for taking the time to come out and see us. Come and see us again when the new album's coming out. Bring us the new stuff.
It's always a pleasure.
Let's start raking over them Dan Coles early. Shall we do that? And this is the live version of A Design for Life. Listen out for that threat of violence at the end of the song. Gentlemen, thank you.